Hey, Chris Foschel from Mizuno here, Director of Product. I'm here with Britt Piro, one of our engineers. We are here looking at the new Mizuno Pro golf balls, the Mizuno Pro S and the Mizuno Pro X. Love to get kind of your take on what you look for as a good player when you're comparing golf balls and trying them out. Then we'll hit a couple and kind of compare these two.
Well, the main thing I look for is just making sure with a driver it doesn't balloon in the air too much or fall out of the sky with too little spin. So just getting the optimal range of spin for me.
And you're a high swing speed player, so we got TrackMan set up, so we'll gather some info. Do you have an ideal spin rate you're always trying to go for, or it's more of a visual thing?
It's visual, but when I look at numbers, usually it's 25 to 2200.
Okay, perfect. All right, so right now we've got, first one up, we have the Mizuno Pro X. So this is a little bit firmer, a little bit higher spin model, but I'd love to see where it lines up with your driver, and we can look at some numbers.
Sweet, let's hit it.
It's a nice flight there.
That felt pretty good. Visually hit the spin rate I wanted.
Right, so got about the height you'd look for? Mm-hmm. So that was almost 116 head speed, 173 ball speed, spin rate 2300. So it had a little bit of a turnover on it. That little draw is gonna bring that spin rate down a touch, right at 100 peak height, carry 294.
Sweet.
Let's hit one more, kind of look at that, and then we can see if you want to tweak from there.
Okay.
That one looks a little bit higher.
Yeah, I caught that a little high and right.
So that was one of those, again, it didn't quite have that turnover of the first one. So you can see ball speed, I mean, pretty much hung in there, slightly down 1 mile an hour. Spin rate's a little bit higher than you were looking for, so almost 2600, but that peak height got pretty high. So that's one of the things with the X, is it's gonna tend to spin a little bit more. And with that, with your ball speed at 170 plus, you probably want to be a little bit lower than that. So what I'd love for you to do is hit the Mizuno Pro S. It's got the same axial flow dimples, 332 of those. That's going to give it a really nice penetrating ball flight. And this S is going to be a little bit softer and a little bit lower spin. So you should see that peak height come down.
Sweet. Yeah, I want my high right miss to kind of be optimal spin and not as high, not as spinny.
Perfect.
Turned it over a little bit.
Turned it over a little, which should naturally bring that spin rate down. Again, 172 ball speed, 1800. Turned that over a little bit more than you intended. So that brought that spin rate down a little bit. Peak height right at 100 again. So that's good. Your last one was at 130. So that brought it down almost 40 feet of height. So let's try one more where it doesn't turn over quite as much and kind of look to see if that's optimal. Another Mizuno Pro S.
That's the shot I try to hit.
I like that flight. I mean, laser straight. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So 170, almost 174 ball speed, 2300. There was almost no curve. If anything, maybe a touch falling to the right, but that spin rate 2300 versus you were up at the 25, almost 26 with the X. Ball speed up. Your peak height, because it did have that little cut on it, just over 100, about 116 feet, carry 300 yards.
That felt pretty good.
I like that flight there. Right at 172 miles per hour, 2300. I mean, you can see the spin rate is right exactly where you want it to be. Peak height with that axial flow dimple, it is lowered a little bit. So that 105 peak height, carrying it right around 300 and 320 total. Really good numbers.
Those are sweet.
So overall, what I think is so impressive here is that, you know, your comment that it feels softer too. So there's the softer feel, but there's zero sacrifice in performance in the long game. You're getting the ball speed, you're getting the launch angle, you're getting the spin rates, and ultimately it's just covering in a little bit softer and a little bit lower. So to me, that's what's so exciting about the Mizuno Pro S and the Mizuno Pro X, is we're right there with everybody else in terms of the ball performance with a softer feel.
Awesome.